the morning I found a brand new steel fence stretched across the only road to my ranch. I thought it was a prank, but when I saw the fresh property of Oak Hills HOA and no trespassing signs nailed to the posts, the truth hit me like a hammer. They were cutting me off from my own land. For over 20 years, my ranch had been my pride. I raised cattle, cared for horses, and poured my sweat into the soil. The dirt road that led to it wasn't fancy, but it was the only reliable access. The HOA never owned that stretch of road, but a few new board members decided they wanted to protect their neighborhood from ranch traffic. Their solution? Build a gate and fence right across the road, locking me out of my home. At first, I tried diplomacy. I called their president, a smug man named Richard who always wore mirrored sunglasses like he was guarding the Pentagon. "This is my legal easement," I explained calmly. "You can't just block me from reaching my own ranch." His response was sharp and dismissive. "We're protecting property values. If you have a problem, take it up with the county." Then he hung up. Days turned into weeks of arguments, letters, and even sheriff visits. The deputies shrugged, saying it was a civil matter. Meanwhile, my cattle went hungry because feed deliveries couldn't get through, and I had to hike miles on foot just to carry supplies in. The HOA didn't care. Some of their members even smirked when they drove past me walking along the highway. I was angry, yes, but more than that, I was heartbroken. My ranch was my life's work, and these people treated it like a nuisance. But one evening, sitting on the hood of my pickup watching the sunset, an idea came to me. They thought their gate gave them power. What if I turned that power into something they'd regret? So, I went to work. First, I dug through county records and confirmed what I already suspected: that stretch of road was mine. It was deeded into my family's name decades ago, back before Oak Hills was even a neighborhood, which meant their shiny new gate sat on my property. The next morning, instead of tearing it down, I made a few changes. I installed a keypad entry system, ran wiring to a solar panel, and slapped a sign on the front: "Private road A access by toll-only residents, $3 per entry. Guests, $5. At first, people thought it was a joke. They laughed as they pulled up to the gate until it didn't open without payment. Credit card, cash, or my system accepted it all. And since Oak Hills only had one way in and out, every single resident had no choice but to pay me if they wanted to get to work, school, or the grocery store. The outrage was immediate. Richard stormed up to my ranch one afternoon, veins bulging in his neck. "You can't do this," he shouted. "Actually," I replied, holding up the deed, "I can. This is my road, my property, and you built your fence on it without permission. Consider this rent." The HOA threatened lawsuits, but every lawyer they hired ended up telling them the same thing: they had built their gate illegally. If they wanted me to remove the toll, they'd have to take down the fence and restore my access. But I didn't back down. For months, I collected thousands of dollars in tolls. I used the money to repair my barns, restock feed, and even fund scholarships for local kids who wanted to learn ranching. Meanwhile, Oak Hills homeowners grumbled as they swiped their cards, each beep of the machine reminding them of their arrogance. Finally, the pressure broke. At a heated HOA meeting, the residents turned on Richard and his board. Families were tired of paying hundreds a month just to leave their homes. Within 2 weeks, the board voted to resign, and the new leadership came to me with humility. "We're sorry," one of the new board members said. "We just want peace. We'll take down this fence and restore your access." I agreed, but with one condition: they had to sign a binding agreement acknowledging my permanent easement. They signed without hesitation. The fence came down the next day, and the road returned to what it had always been: free and open. Looking back, I realize it wasn't just about a gate or a toll road. It was about standing up to bullies who thought money and titles gave them control over others. They tried to box me out of my own land, but instead, they ended up paying for my ranch's revival. And now, whenever I drive that road, I don't just see gravel and dirt. I see proof that when you fight smart, stay patient, and hold your ground, even the toughest obstacles can become stepping stones. Because sometimes the best revenge isn't destroying your enemy assets, making them fund your success.